It's another beautiful day in the neighborhood. What can I tell you? Got to keep it simple and we'll go from there. I do want to mention that I'm finishing this little mini series on personal growth today, and I'll be starting another mini series next week on shame and shame reduction. It's one of my favorite series I love doing about the aspect of shame. So you can check that out, and we'll start that next week. Okay, I do want to mention today I'll be talking a lot about the Serenity Prayer, which to me is the ultimate prayer of recovery. So let me begin by doing a reading. And I picked a reading from one of my meditation books, the reading a book called For Today, which is the meditation book connected with my eating disorder recovery program. And actually, the reading is actually from March 14th. Nothing can bring you peace but yourself. Like it or not, I am part of a world that searches after possessions and prestige as if they are the key to happiness. Owning certain luxuries is called living well, but is it really? Living well is an internal condition, not an external one. It means feeling good about myself. If I rely on something outside of myself, possessions, people, places, money, the good feeling can be taken away as easily as it is given. I want my feeling of worth to come from within, my place in the world to come from being at peace with myself. That is what our 12-step program promises and does deliver. The inner peace I achieve as I grow in the program enables me to provide for all of my needs. For today, I cannot will myself to have peace of mind, and I can re-examine my priorities. I'm putting enough time and effort into the activities that nurture and develop my spirit. I wanted to read that because in this series on personal growth, we're spending a lot of time taking a look at ways in which we can develop ourselves as human beings. I've learned a long time ago, and I want to share this with you because it took me a long time to get in touch with this, but the real journey of life is referred to as a spiritual journey. And I really believe in the aspect of spiritual and spirituality today. As most of you know, when I define spiritual and spirituality, the word actually comes from Latin and Greek. And the word means to come to an awakening of my personal self, come to a knowledge of myself as a person. It also mentioned so many times in many of my talks that the ultimate relationship that we have in life is the one that we have with ourselves. It's our only relationship. The bottom line is real simple. If I don't know how to love me, how can I love somebody else? If I don't respect and honor who I am, I'm going to respect and honor somebody else. It's got to come from what's going on inside of me to truly go out to others. And so the real journey of life and the excitement of life is being able to go on your own personal journey. And then as a result, the energy from you will reach out and touch others. But it's all based on energy. It's based on that spiritual energy that we have inside of ourselves as human beings. Today, what I want to do is I want to talk about two of my favorite things. One is a very fantastic show called The Lion King. And the other one is a prayer entitled The Serenity Prayer. I'm going to tell you kind of a story. Most of you who know me, I talk a lot about I'm both a Hallmark junkie and a cowboy junkie too. But I always love talking about the term God winks. God winks at us in different ways and finally gets us to get out of our head, out of our insanity, get into our heart, and begin the process of growing. So I talk about The Lion King. I love it because to me, I refer to it as a recovery movie or a recovery show. Elements in it speak so much to us about life. And I have to smile about this because years and years ago, my niece is now 23 years old. But a long time ago, when she was a little girl, she used to stay at our house. We babysat her a lot. And she would get up in the morning, somewhere around 5:30, come to my bed and say, Uncle Vince, Lion King. We go downstairs on the couch and watch The Lion King. When we were done, she'd say, Lion King. And we watch it again. And then when we were done, she'd say, Lion King, and we watch it again. Well, over the years of working with my niece Hannah, I probably watched Lion King about 47 times. I think I have it down now. But I realize now that was a God wink. That was God speaking to me through a beautiful little girl to learn some things about myself and about life. And I get excited today because I've learned over the years how to take things like this, simple little things that we experience in the course of our journey and our growth. They're part of our experiences that we go through. And to realize the fact that they are our teachable moments. But I'm no different than you. I got a hard head. In fact, I got a brick for a head. My father used to say it a long time ago. He used to always say, un capitoso. He used to raise that hand up. In Italian, that means brickhead. We always got to do it the hard way first. We have to run away from things, and we have to actually face them. Isn't it wonderful how life is? It's almost like when I get tired of beating myself up, then I stop beating myself up. In the program, we have a saying for that called, when I get sick and tired of being sick and tired, and finally, I do something about it. And so the journey of life is just like that. The Lion King I love so much because they talk a lot about the circle of life. The circle is something beautiful and special because it has no beginning and it has no end. It's just continuous. It's a circle. When I look at recovery and the gift of recovery, we have been given a gift, powerful gift, a gift that many of us have a tendency to take for granted, myself included. A long time ago, back in 1935, some people got together and put together a very beautiful and special program. And that has been growing in this circle. I call it the circle of recovery, the circle of growth, the circle of life. But like anything else, every once in a while, we have to kind of leave the circle and do it on our own. Now, it's interesting how Simba in The Lion King, through guilt, through fear, through blaming himself for everything, being hard on himself, had to leave the circle, run away, and try to do it his way. Then, of course, there's this wonderful character in The Lion King called Rafiki. I call Rafiki the higher power. And once in a while, the higher power has to come along. And I love the analogy in The Lion King because Rafiki goes over to Simba and tries to tell him to get his rear end back in the circle where it belongs and stop this. Rafiki doesn't listen. So he takes that stick he carries and starts banging him over the head with it. And Simba says, stop, ouch, that hurts. And all of a sudden then, over a period of time, he's able to penetrate, get through, and eventually get him to come back, to rejoin the circle, to face his demons, to face his issues, and to continue to get back into the circle of life. I love that analogy because that's us. That's things that we do a lot of times. We have a tendency to get connected to each other, and we support each other. We're part of one another. Every once in a while, we forget that. We kind of go out on our own and figure, I don't need any help. I can do it myself. And we become loners. And eventually, we have to go back into the circle. But sometimes it takes the higher power, with a strong stick to smack you over the head a few times, give you a couple of headaches, and eventually get you to come back to what you have to do. That fits right into this whole concept of the Serenity Prayer. Another God-wink moment in my life is when I got into my OA program way back in 1987, 1988. And I had a great sponsor, a beautiful guy named Richard. He's deceased now, and he's right here on the wall, starting point on the memorial wall. And Richard used to make me every day say the Serenity Prayer over and over and over again. He literally brainwashed me into this prayer. Now I know why. When he was making me do it, I, like anybody else, said, what am I doing this for? Every day, every day, every day. And now I understand. Now it connects. Now the dots come together. I begin to realize the Serenity Prayer really is the ultimate prayer of recovery, the ultimate prayer of life. The beautiful thing about it is It's very simple. It's very basic. And then there's the concept of the entire serenity prayer. You know, right in the morning when I do my morning prayers, I read from a little booklet. It's called The Spirit of Our Program. And I love this little booklet because it's the retreat book, the retreat book of AA, of the Matt Talbot retreat movement, which is connected to AA. And it's beautiful. It has so many beautiful prayers in it. But it also has the entire Serenity Prayer. We all know the Serenity Prayer from the beginning lines of it, but the entire thing speaks so much to every one of us. It connects the dots for every one of us. So listen to that prayer, beautiful aspect of it. And then we'll kind of look at how we connect it to our life. And it goes, God, grant me the serenity. Grant me the inner peace, the tranquility, the gentleness, to be able to accept the things I cannot change. A big part of recovery, a big part of our journey in life is that beautiful spiritual word of acceptance. To accept the things I cannot change. Isn't that powerful? I cannot change another human being. I cannot control life. See, many of us have lived under the illusion of control for a long period of time. We actually thought we could organize this thing. And I want to tell you, I love the first 3 steps of the program. I learned to let go and let God. Things always kind of go exactly where they're supposed to go when we get out of the way. You know, I always reflect back, I said this to you before, years ago, I'm aging myself now, so you got to put up with this a little bit, okay? Rita knows what I'm talking about. But we go back a few years, okay? And there used to be a newspaper locally called the Philadelphia Bulletin. You guys remember that? Okay. The Philadelphia Bulletin was connected with the I guess it wasn't part of the Inquirer, but it was like the competition to the Inquirer. There was a great comic strip in there called Iggy. And Iggy, I loved him. He was always trying to find out the secrets of life. And then one time with a beautiful comic strip, he said, I have found the enemy. The enemy is me. He finally had to look in the mirror and deal with his own demons and deal with his own stuff. But then there's the other beautiful Iggy comic strip where Iggy is searching for the secret leading to life. And so he climbs this gigantic mountain because the guru lives on top of the mountain. So he's looking for the magic guru, the one who has all the answers to everything. And he works his way up to the top of the mountain. It takes him a long time, a lot of hard work. He gets to the top of the mountain. He kneels down in front of the famous guru. And he says, oh, guru, I have struggled. I have come to hear. I've come to find out the secret of life. Please teach it to me. The guru looks at him and says, go down and live. In short, go back down to that mountain and get on with your life and live your own personal life. And this is exactly what this prayer is trying to say to us. Give me the inner peace, the serenity to accept the fact, to accept the things I can't change. The rest of the prayer brings that even stronger. To accept the things I can. The things I can do, I can work on me. The prayer tells you the only person you can work on is yourself. Isn't that powerful? So beautiful. I'm going to tell you a secret. Don't tell anybody, okay? Jerry, make sure you don't tell anybody. It's real important. Okay? Real important, okay? It is a full-time job to work on yourself. Gabish, you got that? It's a full-time job. And if you do that, then you leave everybody else alone. Not try to drive everybody else crazy. Sounds like us codependents, doesn't it? We're always trying to fix half the world, fix everybody else. And I love codependence because when we do our step work, we're a little strange. We always start with the 4th step. It means we do everybody else's inventory first. Then we do ours. See, it's very easy for me to see what's wrong with everybody else. Isn't that fun? God, it's a lot of fun. But sooner or later, I got to stand still. I got to look within my own self, within my own personhood, within the mirror. I got to look at the aspect of who I am as a person and work on me. You know, it's such an adventure. It's a beautiful thing. But the beautiful thing is I have to accept the fact that I cannot change a lot of stuff. And that's where courage comes into play. Courage. Courage is a powerful, powerful spiritual word. I love the word courage. Courage to change the things I can. The most courageous human beings I have ever met on the face of this earth are not those that jump on a motorcycle and try to ride across a big open ravine. I call them crazy. The people that truly are courageous are those who have the strength and the courage to look within themselves and to work on themselves. That takes a tremendous, tremendous amount of courage. To be able to get honest, to be able to have a sense of humility, be able to look within, look at your own spirit, and not to constantly spend our life looking for something on the outside. It doesn't work. I got to be able to work on my own journey. And the secret, I said to this before, if I do work on my own self, then the energy from me will go out to others. It'll happen automatically. You even have to do it. It's a process, beautiful process of life. That's why I love that concept of it. Then it says, the wisdom to know the difference. Wisdom is such a powerful spiritual word. Wisdom is experience. Through my experiences and through your experiences, to know what I can do and what I can't do, because our experiences are our greatest teachers. We go through so much in life. And that's where the second part of this prayer is so important. And yet, a lot of times when we say this prayer, we only deal with the first part of it. But the entire prayer says, living one day at a time. I love this because everything in life is only for one day. That is today. Yesterday is over. Tomorrow's not here. We have to live in the moment to live in this day. When you learn to live life one day at a time, then you get to enjoy life. Do you ever think about this for a minute? Just to be able to enjoy the little things that we're doing. Right now, I'm enjoying being here with you. This is a moment, a place to be connected. I see all these beautiful faces on Zoom, and I see these other beautiful faces out here. You too, Mike. Well, all these beautiful faces out here that are all interconnected. We're all part of each other. We're all part of a family. We're all part of the growth process we're going through. And that's why it's so important. Because I realize you got to take everything one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time. You know, I'm beginning to realize we don't enjoy the moments. They go by so fast. Life will just go right by you if you don't enjoy it. And enjoyment is part of the journey of life. Everything that we've experienced, everything we've gone through in life, we can look at it negatively, or we can look at it positively. We can learn from it. And so the next part of the prayer says, taking as God did the sinful world as it is, not as I would have it. I said this to all of us so many times, so I got to say it to myself over and over again. Looking at this world, we live in a world that is definitely dysfunctional. Thank God that it is. It's wacky. We live in a dysfunctional world. And so many times, what do we try to do? We try to go out there to find answers. And many times we also try to make it into what we want it to be. It's called control, my friends. The more I try to control things, the more I lose them. There's that illusion again that we go through, that illusion of control. And so the world out there is the world out there. I have to be able to accept it, take it as it is, and not try to be the one who's going to change it. I can't change the world. I got to tell you a secret. I tried. You know, I beat the living crap out of myself for 44 years out there to save the whole entire world. In fact, I always tell the story. I love telling it. So, you know, back in 1966, when I got ordained a priest, I decided I was going to save the whole world. And by the way, I'm a good codependent. I didn't need any help. All by myself, I was going to do it. Well, I ended up, as a result of that, with a nervous breakdown in time in the psychiatric hospital. While I was in the hospital, I slowed down. I decided just to save the United States. That got me a couple of nice addictions. Then finally, I decided just to work on New Jersey. We all know it needs it, so it's not a problem. And finally, it took me a lot of years to look in the mirror and say, there's only one person I can work on, and that's me. It's not my job to save anybody else, to rescue anybody else. I can give suggestions, I can give advice, but each one of us has to find what works for us. We have to find our own journey. We have to find where our experiences might teach us. And to be able to go back and look at my experiences, the things I've gone through in this world, be able to learn from them. But also realizing the fact I have to be able to face the reality of what is. This prayer is so powerful because it teaches me I have to be able to live in reality, not in my dream world. Take a break once in a while and go to Disneyland. That's fine. You know, you ever notice something in Disneyland? The streets are never dirty. It's amazing. And how to do that. The bottom line is, last time I checked, my street's dirty every once in a while. My things I go through in life are a little messed up. And, you know, it's not fun to be a human being. You know, we have all the little idiosyncrasies, little crazy things that we do. We get a little nutty every once in a while. And we have those days that things really work and days nothing works. The next day it works, then it doesn't work. Nothing else works. That's the fun part of life. Right, Bernadette? It's the fun part of life. You got to go with the flow and see what happens with it. That's we experience that in the course of our journey in life. So the prayer is telling me, trusting that God will make all things right if I surrender to his will. I've learned that if I turn my life over to my higher power, if I ask for guidance and if I ask for direction, things usually go the way they're supposed to go. And once again, I got to learn to get out of the way. You know, I've often said this so many times, and I'll say it over and over again, because one of the prayers I say every day is the 11th step prayer. And I love the 11th step prayer. And yet I tell people, be careful when you say it. It's one of the most dangerous prayers on the face of this earth. Because in the prayer I say at the end, your will, not mine. Do I really believe that? I'm praying it. I'm actually saying your will, not mine, which means I'm not in charge. Whoa. I mean, you got to take it easy here. After all, it's been a lot of investments in my codependency. I got to try to be in charge for a while. But it's your will, not mine. And the most beautiful thing about that prayer is, and I say it all the time, I've told you this so many times, I have a scheduling book in my office. And every one of my days is scheduled. I'm a good codependent. I schedule everything, right, Tara? I schedule everything. Now, I say that prayer in the morning and God always screws my day up. Isn't that amazing? See, I'm convinced that God's got a sense of humor. He's got to get a laugh in every once in a while, even though sometimes I don't like the laughs. But he's also telling me that when I look at these things, it says in the prayer, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace. Everything in life that's worthwhile, we have to go through struggle. Struggle is part of life. You know what's so beautiful about that journey? When you earn something, are responsible, that means something to you. If everybody gives you everything, it doesn't mean that much to you. When you actually earn it, it becomes part of you, it's yours. It's a powerful process of life. I'm realizing that over and over again in the course of my own journey. And I'll tell you a personal story. When I was in the priesthood, I was a priest for 20 years. I was in the seminary for 12 years. That's a 32-year count altogether. During that period of time, I really didn't have a tremendous amount. I have responsibility with stuff for myself, but my life was taken care of. All my bills were paid. My schooling was paid. Everything was paid for me. I had a house to live in. Even had a housekeeper that made my bed every morning, washed my clothes, cooked my meals. They even gave me spending money. Wow. 32 years. And then, with the help of a good therapist, a recovery program, a lot of other people, I had to make some changes in my life. Do you know how scary that was? To walk out that door, and the bishop said to me, when you leave, you'll have nothing. You have to walk out that door and start from scratch all over again. To be able to learn what responsibility is all about, to have to grow up. It's amazing, but I realized the fact that I started my growth process in life back when I was 44 and 45 years old. I had to stand on my own 2 feet. This is the story of every one of us in this room. Because you know, when you go through your struggles, you go through your experiences, we have to be able to be responsible for our journey, responsible for our life, responsible for our behavior. And the steps teach me that. It's so beautiful and special. And yet very many times, this is not easy. The prayer is beautiful to say. To live this prayer is not the easiest thing on the face of this earth. It means we have to go through our struggles, through our changes. We got to be able to go through our experiences. And many times, we're going to experience pain. We're going to experience loss. We're going to experience hardship. We'll also experience joy and celebration. There'll be a mosaic of all types of things we're going to experience as we go through the journey of personal growth. The beautiful part about it is each and every one of us is an individual. Each one of us is a beautiful person. Each one of us is unique. And it's that pathway. And I have to realize the fact that this will give me a sense of being happy in this life and then to be able to be happy in the life to come. To be open to the ultimate journey of life. You know, the whole entire prayer teaches me something so beautiful. You and I are on this earth for an extended period of time. There's a beginning and there's an ending. And it's beautiful. It's how it's supposed to be, by the way. And as a result, you're on this life, on this earth to do a journey. Your journey is the most important journey there is on the face of this earth. Your story is the most important story on the face of this earth, as mine is. We're all part of one another. We're all connected to one another. And yes, we have scars. Scars are things we've gone through in life. We've been wounded. We've gone through changes in life. I refer to them as battle scars and scars of honor. Because it means I had to be able to go through something to be able to come to a growth process in my life. Maybe it was hurt, maybe it was pain, maybe it was loss. Mothers know what I'm talking about, especially. You know, we have these people called children. Aren't they wonderful? And then they have this thing to grow up. And how come they never go the way we figure they should be going? They find their own way. They make their own journey. They just don't cooperate. Isn't that amazing? Geesh, you had the whole thing planned out for them. You know, when I get upstairs, I got to talk to my mom and say, "No, Mom, you had a whole life planned out for me, but guess what? I decided to take a right-hand turn and go someplace else." You know, I'm glad I did. So as a result, I got to start another part of life, another journey of life. But I know. I come back on life today, and I spent a lot of time in my life, as many of us have, trying to find that answer out there. You know, you hear people say this all the time. If only I hit the lottery, then I'll be the happiest person on the face of the earth. No, you won't. It's only money. I remember a show on the Today Show one time. They had this guy on from New York who hit the New York lottery or something like, I don't know, a whole bunch of millions of dollars. He was on the show to tell people he wishes he never hit the lottery. His life has been insane and crazy ever since. Everybody's suing him. People are going after him. His life, totally, he says, oh my God, he says, I can't stand it anymore. I'm going to tell you a secret. Don't tell anybody, okay? Possessions. Possessions come and possessions go. Material stuff is not the answer. Spiritual stuff is the answer. You can't take it with you. I'm sorry. It's all part of it. Yeah, but I got to tell you a funny story. This is funny, insane, and crazy all at the same time. But it's also called human nature. My neighbor told me this story because she lived in a very interesting place called South Philadelphia. I often say she lived in a different state. Anyway, what kind of connects South Philly as a different state, okay? Anyway, she told the story of her neighbor, and the husband was really nasty to his wife. His wife waited on him like crazy. She used to yell at him. He used to yell at her, scream at her, yell at the kids, all this kind of stuff. But in his living room, he had this beautiful portrait made of him. Beautiful portrait hanging on the wall. I guess he sat there and admired himself all day. I don't know what he did. Anyway, he said to his wife, yelled at her actually, and said, when I die, you put that portrait in the casket with me. Well, when he died, she was very happy to take the portrait down and put it in the casket. In fact, she ran it to the undertaker's. Not a problem. So she got it there, gave it to the undertaker. The undertaker called her up and said, well, I got a problem. It doesn't fit. It's so big, it doesn't fit in the casket. Is it okay if I take it out of the frame, roll it up, and put it in the casket? She said, fine, God, do whatever you have to do. About an hour later, he called her back and he said, I think you better come down here. She said, why? Just come down here. She couldn't figure it out. She went down there and he said, I have to show you something. I took it out of the frame and there was $50,000 in cash behind the portrait. He was going to take it with him. Scary. And so he didn't take it with him, by the way. The portrait with him, but the money didn't go with him. I went home. And his two sons were so mad at him and angry at him, they even told their mother, don't even give him a funeral, just bury him. The mother said, no. Out of respect, we'll give him a funeral. And a nice funeral. And then one of the sons said, I don't care. Those long pins you do for crocheting? There's someone up there and starts sticking his dad when to make sure he was gone. I heard that story. I said, wow. But I can see what anger can do to you. But, you look at life and you say, all these things we can acquire possessions, acquire material stuff. Are they important? No. They're things. They will come, they will go. They'll go back and forth. What's important is what's inside. What's in your spirit? What's inside of you as a person? Because the greatest gift you can give to another human being is the gift of your love, your energy, the gift of your support, the gift of your encouragement. It's all the little things that mean so much. Big things don't mean that much because they will come and they will go. And so if you're looking for happiness in possessions in the world, we do live in a very unpredictable world, as you know. In a world where people think that if I can just have this and just have that, sometimes you got to go through struggle. I remember many times my parents talking to me about the depression, what they went through. You know what my father said to me one time? He said, this was good for the country. He said, so what do you mean? He said, well, sometimes you got to lose things to be able to appreciate them. He taught me some good lessons. And sometimes I see this in our own world today. We're going through our supplies, things aren't coming in the way they're supposed to be coming in. Maybe in a way there's a lesson being taught there. To try to be open to it. Maybe we have to just keep it simple. And so the Serenity Prayer is telling me, keep life simple. Live in this world, but don't be part of it. Be able to celebrate the people around you, to celebrate life. And personal growth is exactly that. It means every day on my journey, I begin it with gratitude. After all, we woke up this morning. Isn't that amazing? That's all that counts. And so as we woke up, we do the best you can for this day. And at night, we go to sleep, we say thank you and gratitude, and we go to sleep. An old timer taught me this a long time ago. He says, begin the day with gratitude, end the day with gratitude. Even if things during the day didn't go too well, be grateful you're able to experience them and go through them and learn from them. And so the whole entire Serenity Prayer reads, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as the pathway to peace, taking as he did the sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that he will make all things right if I surrender to his will, that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with him forever in the next. Amen. And what was that? All would take that prayer. It's a beautiful prayer, very special, and be able to, run with that prayer and be connected with it. And so one of the things I'm going to ask Loretta to do is to put that whole entire prayer, on our Facebook page, to also put it on our webpage, so that if you want copies of it, you can go and get it, okay? So I'll mention that to her, something about that. But say that prayer every day. That prayer is a journey of life. And don't forget, I hope and pray that Rafiki comes to visit all of you, and that he comes and helps you to get back into the circle of life and be able sometimes just to realize how special and beautiful each one of us are. So my prayer today is the prayer of gratitude, a prayer for all of us that we are part of life, part of the journey. So let us pray. God, we come before you as a family today. We come before you in prayer. We say in gratitude and we say in love. We ask you to be our guide, our strength, and our protection. First of all, we thank you for all those who have gone before us, all those on the wall that surround me in this lecture, all those who have gone before us to teach us the beautiful lessons of life. We're grateful for whatever tomorrow will be, even though we don't know. But above all, gratitude for this day. Gratitude for the simple, beautiful things of this day. To enjoy the moments of this day. Above all, to realize that we work with you and listen and guide, and be open to the journey, be open to the experiences, things we have to go through. But every day, give us the strength and the courage to look within ourselves, to celebrate who we are, and realize that we are special, we are beautiful, and we are loved. With your help, with your guidance, we can do this every day of our life. So we pray, and we ask that we may follow your will and be able to continue to grow in the Spirit. We ask this in your name. Amen. Now I'm going to ask if you don't mind unmuting. You guys don't have to unmute, okay? And we're going to kind of say this Serenity Prayer together.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. God's will, not mine, be done.